Hello and welcome, I'm Mystical, this is Mystical Gaming, we're back in Watcher of Realms and I want to go over Lyra. It's taken me a little while, a couple of other things got in the way, massive amounts of summoning, that sort of stuff, hope you've done well. But earlier on in the summoning she came out, so we've done the usual thing with her. We've put her all the way up to 60, we've promoted her all the way through, we haven't got any gear on her, we haven't done any of her skills, awakenings aren't done, and then there's also no artifact on her as well, so she's pretty naked and everyone can get her to this level, and then we can see what her skills do. So the first thing to go over is the talent. Now this talent is quite important to go over. So a basic attack has a 40% chance during a cosmic rift nearby. The hero can maintain up to 2 cosmic rifts at a time. The basic attack always inflicts magic resistance reduction on the enemies. Right, so cosmic rift mimics the same attack on one enemy in range when the summoner attacks. And you'll see the cosmic rift, she'll have like an orb on this side of her when she's got 1, and she'll have an orb on this side when she's got 2, and she can maintain 2. It's only a 40% chance each time she attacks. So attacks that can be mimicked include the basic attack, ultimate attack, focus fire attacks when launched by Twin Fiend or Pyros, activated by their Lord skill. Mimicked basic attacks and focus fire attacks only deal 50% damage. So a basic attack deals 50% damage and the focus fire deals 50% damage, but she can also mimic the ultimate, and that doesn't do 50% damage, that does all the damage. Okay, so sort of a lack of wording in there. I don't think it's very well worded. It's just ultimate is left out and therefore it does all the damage as well, so we'll be able to go on and see that later, so bear that in mind. She also has magic resistance reduction, minus 30%, so if you don't know what this does, when mobs have magic resistance, she's going to remove 30% of that, which is really good as you get further on in the game. They tend to have more magic resistance, or more resistance in general. Now this works better than magic damage and vulnerability, because if they've got a lot of magic resistance you don't do much damage to them, and then when you multiply that up, because they're more vulnerable to magic damage, it doesn't, you multiplying up a small number, whereas if you remove 30% of the magic resistance then you tend to do more damage, so that the more end game you use this ability the better off you generally are, and we'll have a look at that later as well. So that's pretty much what her basic attack does. And then we've got her, that's what her talent does, and her basic attack just deals 100% damage to one enemy, and then we can up that 4 times if we get skill crystals into it, if we find any. And then we've got her first passive. When the ultimate meteorites hit, at least one cosmic rift exists. Increases the hero's attack by 15% for 10 seconds. If 2 cosmic rift exist, dispels 1 buff from the target, and we'll have a look at that as well. The skill upgrades on it I'm not a big fan of. I think that's quite lazy. It's not very exciting. You just get a bit more damage. You can get that hero's attack by 25%. Now the second passive here though, after the hero and the cosmic rift deal damage to the same target 20 times, increases the hero's damage by 10%, stacking up to 3 times, you get 30% attack. That's pretty permanent as long as you keep attacking the same target. So, and then the upgrades on that, you can either upgrade the bonus damage, or you can upgrade or lower down the amount of stacks that you need to be placing on the target for this to kick in. So I quite like the second passive. Not only do I like it, I like the way that it's the skills are put in there as well. Now the ultimate summons a meteorite to deal 460% damage to one enemy in range. That is, she summons 1 meteorite, and she summons 1 meteorite per cosmic orb she's got as well. Remember, the cosmic orb, it mimics the attack and it will mimic the ultimate, but it doesn't suffer from the 50% debuff as well that you get on the other things. And then we can just get some more damage out of it and the skill cost down, so I quite like that as an ability. So let's go in and we're chucking her a few places and we'll see stuff at work with her. So we're just going to chuck her down in the guild boss. We'll chuck her down on normal level and then we'll put her in. Now the first thing to note is that when we first hit the boss, we do about 3,690 points of damage. When we first hit the boss, that one hit will be less than everything else, because we then apply our debuff, our magic resistance debuff on. So then we have a look at subsequent attacks. We hit for a bit more. We hit for 3,742, and then if we take it forward, we can see that we then hit for a 1,000. There we go, and 1,871. They're the 50% that the basic attack has been done, and we can see there's a couple of them that come up. There's the magic resistance, there's the 2 debuffs. So basic attack and the orbs work absolutely fine and no great issues whatsoever. This time we're going to place her down, and then we're going to get her start attacking again. Remember, the first attack's less, each attack after that builds up, and then when we hit the 20 we then start to see that we do more damage. So we do 3,742-ish, and then later on, after we've done our 20 attacks, we then start to see that we do more damage than that, because we get this buff on ourselves that's going to be on there permanently. There we go, we can see that we're now doing 4,000 and a bit. Let's see if we can, there we go, 4,116. So we've now got this buff on ourselves, and then we do 2,058 because we've got some orbs up there, and that's the extra we do from the orbs as well. So that's ticking on. And then when we trigger our ultimate, we can see there's the ultimate going off. Now she releases one meteorite and an additional meteorite per orb, because they're going to mimic the attacks, and they do 460% damage, so we should expect to see 18,933.6. there you go. So let's see that. There you go, 18,934. there's the first one, there's the second one, and there's the third one. So they all hit for that additional damage. They do not suffer from 50% decrease that the basic attack gets, and the cosmic, or the focus fire get. Okay, so that's her attacks and her passives working for us there. Now the other thing to watch out for is if we want to use an infernal roar set on us. So we're going to put it down with a Volker, because a Volker will heal us on a basic attack, so we'll be able to see when we're getting healed. So the basic attack, that heals us. But what's interesting to know, if we slow this down, she heals 3 times for the same amount, so she's getting healed off. It's counting the orbs as basic attacks and healing for the basic attack damage, not healing for 50% less. So there we go, she heals for 198, and then she heals for 198 per orb. She doesn't heal for half of that as well. So that's quite interesting to actually know. Now if we do the ultimate and we cast the ultimate off, she gets no healing whatsoever. So I was going to have a look to see how Infernal Roar played around with the basic attacks and the orbs, but as her ultimate doesn't work off Infernal Roar anyway, yeah, I didn't really see the point in it, to be honest. So there we go, the ultimate doesn't work with Infernal Roar, but the side orbs would. So the other place we're going to test it on is Samm as well. So she's got this debuff ability. Now remember, her ultimate is manual, so we can sort of decide when we're going to do it. Just get myself out of the way a little bit. And I've put together a little team. There we go, chucking everyone down. And now the only thing is with her is there's no real way to see when she's got it other than seeing those orbs beside her. So I sort of had to place her down. I placed her down on the right hand side there, so she's in clear view. I always put my team on the left hand side with Samm as well, because when you debuff him during the Death Saw phase with that attack down, it will stay on once he's done his hit. So once he's done his hit on the left hand side, he'll then do the right hand side, and he will then keep that debuff on, and it will tick away, so eventually it will tick down. But if he attacks you again and you get another one on there, it will just stay at whatever it was before. So that's worth knowing. Right, now on to the second phase. This is a bit we're interested in, because this is where we want to remove the buff. So the boss is doing his thing, going along quite happily, and we're smashing the boss down. So the only issue we've got there is how quickly we're killing the boss. So what I have to do here is I just remove some of the DPS going through, so we can get rid of some of the DPS there. Let's get rid of Ingrid, and we can get rid of Pope, and that will lower our DPS down, so the boss can actually rotate through his skills. Because we don't want to see if we can remove just one buff. We want to see when the buff stacks up whether we can remove more than one. So that's his first run through, and we've got one stack from the Aegeus mode coming on. He'll do another Aegeus mode in a minute. There we go, and we can now see it stacked up to 2 times, which is good. So when we have a look down at our mob, we can see that she's got 2 orbs up there, so we could fire off the ultimate. Now we've just lost 1 orb, we've lost the second one there, so now is not a good time to do the ultimate. Remember, she needs both orbs up, or both cosmic rifts up, to be able to debuff. So I can now see we've got the third up there, and I've only got 1 available, which is a bit annoying for myself. So I do have to keep that in mind. I do have to keep somewhere where she's a bit more visual so I can actually see when this is happening. Now I can actually time it for myself. It's not like I've got to waste the ultimate. It's not on auto, so it's going to go on waste. I've got one cosmic orb. I can see he's coming round again. There's the second one. I can trigger off her ultimate. There's the fourth one gone on, and I've removed them all. Absolutely fantastic. As long as you keep her attacking fast enough, get those two orbs up, boom, you can take away the boss's butt. Absolutely fantastic, particularly if you're running an Infernal Comp there, then you can actually tie her into it. Absolutely brilliant. So bear that in mind. She removes that really well. It's nice to see. If we get back and have a look at her skills, a basic attack is just an increase in damage. It's fine. It's, yeah, you're right, wouldn't be too bad. As first passive, I'm not a big lover of it. I get that you get the buff out of it. I just think it's a bit lame. It's just some additional attack. The second passive I really like. So we can downgrade the number of hits we require and upgrade the amount of attack we get, and that is essentially a permanent buff on herself, particularly if you're going to be using it in long fights like the Guild Boss or Samm. Whereas the first one is just, it's an attack on that, increases the hero's attack, and it's only for 10 seconds. It's not like I can increase the time as well, or yeah, I don't know. I just prefer the second passive. It just feels like I'm getting more bang for my buck when I put skills in there. So, and there is the ultimate. We can do more damage, and remember that is going to include all the cosmic rifts you get as well, so get more damage out of that, and you can release the amount of rage that you want from it. So for me, I would want them in the ultimate, and the second passive is where I'm hoping they go. So obviously that doesn't happen. I get them in the first passive, but it's only the first one, no great shakes, and you've got to put your dust in. So the second one has also gone into the basic attack. It's not bad, but it's not great. I'd rather have them in the other two. I'm just starting to think that the game actually hates me now, because that's gone into the second passive as well. That's gone into basic attack, and it's the other two I want. There we go. Right, we've got one into the second passive. That's good news. And then our next one's into the ultimate, and that's pretty much it before I then start having to use crystals. So that's where she's ended up for me. Now the place that I really want to use her is, I really want to use her in the faction trials, because the faction trial boss has got this massive amount of magic resistance. So I do want to try it up in the faction trials. I think that'd be absolutely brilliant there, because that boss with the magic resistance, you can lower that right down, and then we can chuck some focus fire in there from everyone while they've got the magic resistance reduction on them, and then we'll be able to nuke them down much easier. That's my plan. So we're just going to chuck some gear on her and see how that goes, and then yeah, we'll smash through that boss, hopefully, or at least that's the plan anyway. Let's chuck it down. So she's attacking the boss quite happily. She's going along quite nicely. She's got the magic resistance reduction on the boss, so that's all good. And chuck Pyros down. He's naked as well, just for reference. We're going to wait for his ultimate to tick up, and when it ticks up, we'll be able to chuck the focus fire on and be able to see how much we smash the boss for. So here it comes, and there's the shield up by the boss, and there we go, focus fire. 2002. I was a little disappointed, even though he hasn't got much gear on. I was quite disappointed by that. I thought, oh well, never mind. But let's have a quick check, and we'll make sure we've actually got the debuffs on the boss. We can see them, and then we've got a physical magic vulnerability, and then we've also got the magic damage reduction, or the magic reduction on him. So magic resistance reduction. So this time what we're going to do is, we've got the boss down, we're going to Pyros down. We'll put Pyros down by himself, and then we can see how much we're getting from having the magic resistance reduction on the boss. So here's his ultimate. It's coming up. 2002. So I don't know what happens with magic resistance reduction on a boss that has got a massive amount of magic resistance. I was expecting a massive change, but there doesn't seem to be. Whether it's just this boss or not, I don't really know. I've got a bug report in. They've said, can I supply more data? I really can't, because this isn't coming around for another week. But don't know about that. But it is just here, so don't think that it doesn't work. Generically, I believe it does. So that just seems to be here. Now, if we go and have a look at just a Pyros down, so we've got datum to work from. So if we chuck him down there, off he goes. He's sitting away quite happily, and then and hit the ultimate. There goes his focus fire. Here for 5,710. Right, so if we restart this fight, and this time we're chucking both down. We chuck Pyrus down over there, we can chuck her down over there, we can slow this down because Pyrus has got his ultimate up, we can kick his ultimate off and trigger her. We will just wait for her basic attack to hit. Once it's hit, the debuff will reset for the full 8 seconds and we can recall her so we don't get any damage mixed up, and then we're just waiting on his hit. Now remember last time it was what, 5,700. There we go, hit for 11k that time. So we can see that it does increase there. So it's much more something to do with the boss on the Infernal Wars, the Infernal Faction trial more than anything else. Okay, so there is a bug reporting about it, and we'll see what happens. We'll see if they change it or they modify it or they get back to us at all. So that is about it. Do I like the champion? Yeah, I think she's absolutely really good. The further you go on, particularly if you're running, I think you do remarkably well if you've got, there are a lot of people in that faction to go with. I think you can make up a decent solid team, and I think she's going to help you out a lot there. Okay, that's me done for today. Thank you very much for your time. I'll see you in a video again soon. Cheers. Goodbye.